very earliest time, when both people and animals lived on Earth, a person could become an animal if he wanted to, and an animal could become a human being. Sometimes they were people, and sometimes animals. And there was no difference. All spoke the same language. That was the time when words were like magic. The human mind had mysterious powers. A word spoken by chance might have strange consequences. It would suddenly come alive, and what people wanted to happen could happen. All you had to do was say it. Nobody can explain this. That's the way it was. Sri Lanka is an island separated from India to the north by the Gulf of Mannar. The rest of its magnificent coastline is washed by the Indian Ocean. In 1981, Dr. Hal Whitehead of Memorial University in Newfoundland was sponsored by the World Wildlife Fund to spend 3 years sailing the Indian Ocean Sanctuary off the coast of Sri Lanka to observe social behavior and to record population dynamics of sperm whales. His scientific research was with the cooperation of the National Aquatic Resources Agency of Sri Lanka, an organization dedicated to the concerted effort to manage and protect the sanctuary. As an American film team deeply interested in naturalist studies, we came to the congested and busy harbor of Sri Lanka's capital, Colombo. Our sole objective was to document visual evidence of the great whales of Sri Lanka and Dr. Whitehead's invaluable work. We were dedicated to sharing the labor, for we believed in the need. We chartered the sailing vessel Sofong, which had arrived from Singapore only days before our scheduled departure. We had little time to provision and prepare the boat, since our plan was to catch up with Dr. Whitehead, who had already set sail from Sri Lanka, tracking whales acoustically west from Colombo towards the Maldive Islands. We followed patiently, listening through our hydrophones for the recognizable and distinctive clicks of the whales. In equatorial heat, we all shared a common sense that to film this legendary Leviathan was to try and understand the whale from his point of view. We had to set aside individual and collective egos and learn to be still. We also knew that our quest was a difficult one, not without risk and some personal sacrifice. But nonetheless, our mission could afford mankind a clearer comprehension of a world we rarely saw. Like the possessed Captain Ahab, already we were boldly launched upon the deep, but soon we were lost in its unshored, harborless immensities. Life on board the Sofong was good. Her crew were hard workers who sensed and shared our anticipation. Wind and weather dictated much of our movement. We would sail, then lose the wind, and be forced to motor. Always reminded that whales are not on paper. They are in water. They are not stationary, they are moving. And they move in relation to wind and weather, to the events of their days and nights, and will not hold still for mapping or easy diagrams. Proceeding westward, we had monitored no radio communications from Dr. Whitehead. His data suggested that at this time of year, male sperm whales would be migrating from their Arctic and Antarctic waters to mate with their females in the 92-degree ocean. We could only assume that he was following the loud clicks of bull sperm whales and that somehow we would rendezvous. We ourselves had not seen or heard any whales. We could only pray for whales, and with that prayer, we grew apprehensive. In our boredom and frustration, and with confusion like an albatross around us, we suffered. Down dropped the breeze, the sails dropped down. It was sad as sad could be. And we did speak only to break the silence of the sea. All in a hot and copper sky, the bloody sun at noon. Right up above the mast did stand, no bigger than the moon. Day after day we stuck, nor breath nor motion, as idle as a painted ship upon a painted ocean. Sperm whales are unpredictable. Knowing this and accustomed to the long hours of waiting and watching, the weary moments of expectation and anxiety, we chose to rest, exchange experiences, take care of necessary tasks, amuse ourselves, and prepare our equipment for that dream of a moment when we would first sight the blows of the sperm whale. We began to wonder about the whales. Were we in the right zone? Were we even close? We fantasized. Our emotions became stressed. Humor eased that tension.
Like always, I'm sitting in the doghouse when suddenly I felt something, just the boat like going on a reef or something like that. Something touched the boat. I was jumping out of the doghouse.
Yes, and there's this great big cracking noise. And I poked my head out, and all we saw was this great big fluke.
from the water, it was incredible. It was something black and huge just come out of the water.
Bang, crash.
It was too late.
Boom was smashed.
The fluke, it was a whale fluke.
My goodness, it's bigger than anything I've ever seen before.
Just hit the boom and broke it to pieces.
All happened so quickly.
Banana production.
What do you think the larger concentration is? The out about 110 degrees from ball point. Okay. How many miles off? Maybe anywhere between 5 to 10 miles.
We collected our thoughts concerning the expedition and its pending fate. It was then that nature provided a relief for our depression. A single glimmering white puff on the far horizon. In the blinding glare of the sun, we became excited with false hope. Even the magical dance of beautiful spinner dolphins could not diminish our agonizing defeat.
Get ahead. There he is.
No whale.
No whales. Go ahead and put the engine up.
There had been no guarantee of success. We had undergone this test of our endurance and dedication, and were to learn later that Dr. Whitehead had been with the whales. We could only face the somber truth with humility that we had failed. Were these leviathans to preserve their rights of privacy? The whales had eluded us. That was reason enough to return. The monsoon seasons of Sri Lanka shift from the northeast in the fall to the southwest in the spring. Though the storms lingered later than usual this year, we returned to Sri Lanka with renewed intensity. We were determined to sail where the research vessel Tulip had been successful for 2 prior seasons in observing whales. Our lives had been changed by the failure in autumn. Then we had been 18 bodies on 70 feet of deck space. Now we were a team of 13, driving the Sofong north to follow the shadows and footprints of the great whales of Sri Lanka.
Just see the dorsal, okay. Yeah. I'm just going to stay right parallel to him. Right here. Somebody come back and help. Do it right over there. Okay, he's right at the surface still, Chuck.
Pull it up a little further. Okay, got it.
Okay. Cedric coming? Cedric. Driving?
On the first day out of the quiet port of Trincomalee, we saw the blows of whales and wondrous dark shapes at the surface. We knew now that we were in a season of whales.
There they are, straight ahead of us. Is that a whale in front of them? That ripple? Yes, sir. I got it. Looks like they pulled the engine up. Yeah, they may be out of gas. They may also be very wet.
I lost communication with them for quite a while. They're coming in.
They were pretty far away, too.
waving, probably.
Right, when I could hear them clear, but they were being broken.
Looks like they're coming over with us a little bit.
As a quiet reminder of nature's control, our first attempts to film the whales were denied.
Why don't you come over to the other side and we'll hand down the jug and we'll fill up the tank. Yeah. Definitely a Brutus whale, Chuck?
I would think so. But he's just diving each time. Just doesn't care whether we're there or not. He's just making easy dives and going away.
Were we to experience yet another disappointment?
But he's not staying on the surface between dives.
Such a fleeting glimpse was encouraging, and we thanked the place where we were for the momentary goodness it provided. We could only hope the rain would be our last penance.
Just about 10 degrees away from that squall up there. Gonna have a little more rain, but
The further outside we go, the clearer it's going to be.
yeah.
Then we get away from this coastal influence anyway when that tide changes. We can at least be in clear water when it swings.
It looks like there's some good sky after this squalls.
The ones we shot last year were only maybe 40 feet or maybe 50 feet. I think he's been seeing some real like 80 feet, 80 footers.
We get a
20 degrees starboard. 20 degrees starboard. Do you think we should take the speed up or leave it at 1,000 RPM?
no, leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's whales all out. Sperm whales out there. There's a group out here.
Yeah, let's go way out to that group.
Sperms over there.
About 20 degrees to starboard.
Hey, hold it. Look, right under the water, right there, about 50 feet over.
Oh yeah, right there.
We continued our daily routine in search of Indian Ocean whales. We cared, and perhaps it was our perseverance and respect for these creatures that gave us our ultimate reward. There were now sperm whales all around us. One whale would lead us to mother with newborn calves. Young males, clicking their language, drew together to touch small family groups or large social pods, the whale's family unit. These whales performed no tricks. They were alive and free swimming. We were given the privilege of observing nature in its most wonderful form. Sperm whales have been hunted for centuries. When that consummate curve over the surface of the sea would first break, it was to the commercial whalers only a commodity, not a sign or a mystical symbol or a promise of life's continuity but rather a promise of wealth. We've never known as much about the sperm whale as we do today, but they still remain a theory, a tall tale, and sometimes the truth. Above the water or under it, whales rolled and died, as comfortable upside down as they were right side up. They spoke to one another and perhaps to us. They were mountains of movement, wanderers with warm blood. These creatures live in social herds whose lives are governed by the tides of feeding, copulating, and breeding. We were reminded as we watched these whales with a fist for a forehead of a warm, akin creature, and intelligent. The sperm whale is a mystery. They can dive to prodigious depths, hold their breath for an hour and a half, and as predators with teeth of ivory, can gobble up huge quantities of squid in a single gulp. They click, communicating in a way that we've yet to understand. They are an intercom swimming system with a titanic nose and a 20-pound brain. They are enormous, tender and maternal, mysterious in their comings and goings, matings and dyings. They have been deified by man as sunken gods too heavy for the sky to hold, as heroes without hands, the pure lost note of love, living in the cold deep of green peace. But to us, they were not gods. They were more than just a rumor. They were the subjects of a research project of far-reaching proportions. They were real. In 1979, the International Whaling Commission adopted a proposal to create what is now known as the Indian Ocean Whale Sanctuary. This vast ecosystem comprises some 40 million square miles of water and is the habitat of at least 43 species of whales. The Indian Ocean Sanctuary is without precedent. It is easily the most awesome attempt at international conservation in history. Dr. Whitehead had returned to Canada to transcribe the wealth of new information gathered over 2.5 years. His successor, zoologist Jonathan Gordon, and his young scientific associates working on board the 10-meter sloop Tulip have made remarkable progress in beginning to understand this great whale. As we exchanged information about our encounters and facts with the crew of the Tulip, we began to understand the incredible adventure we were living.
Around that area is where you want to be.
Okay. It was just lovely today. It was just lovely. I haven't seen anything like that before.
No, don't drop now.
Now you're going to hang around tomorrow, or you're going to head back? Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. Okay. So we're just going to do again, I guess, tonight, Jonathan, what we did was just sort of stay in your wake and hang back. We might not follow them further. I'll go over on the side. All right. We're going to race you boat like this. Right to the middle.
Oh, my favorite. To the underwater world, yeah.
Well, here's to the whales, huh?
The whales in the film first. It's our cameraman over there. Bobby.
Robert.
Chad. You have a beer glass.
And we celebrated. We had been given a priceless window into a world otherwise confused by fancy and speculation. The result of that glimpse was that whales are more, not less, graceful and intriguing. Did we dare think that we might all learn from a few weeks or months in their presence? morning, we heard whales everywhere. As they dared to swim closer to our boat, spy hopping with curiosity, one of our divers was given the rare opportunity to do what few men have ever done, to film the sperm whale underwater.
That was as good as anything we've ever done.
Really?
Yeah, he came right to me. He got out, Rosenthal.
Did you open up his mouth and say hello?
No. But he could have.
It looks beautiful from here.
He was coming right at me, and I just dived down with the tank,
Yeah.
and he just kept coming, just like this, and then just barely turned, and I along his whole side, and he didn't turn over. I mean, you know, I haven't seen the film yet, but it sure looked good.
Really?
Sure looked good at the time.
How big was it?
Real
Got about
size,
20 minutes
regular,
under.
same kind. What are you doing?
Rosenthal,
Pull up. We'll pick up Rick. There's 3 right over there. Let's go see.
Jack said you broke my trigger. I'll tell you, it looks fantastic from here.
Was it so far away they could shoot?
Yeah.
I mean, close enough you could shoot?
No.
No? Yes?
Bobby didn't get Ralph got you. It looked like he caught you with his fluke.
Good show, man. I was sitting there. Flippers up when he fluked and you fluked. Both fluked at once. You rode him down, huh?
Yeah, well, he didn't go at first. You know, he's just there.
Yeah.
He just swam right up to me and swam by me, and he didn't start to go down
Did your
until
phony bottle on?
his fluke his fluke was this close to me when he went. And, you know, he's just right there.
We watched with admiration the work of these young, dedicated scientists aboard the Tulip. Their sensitive and quiet eagerness, coupled with their acoustical expertise, offered even greater insight into these animals. Jonathan was inspired. The researchers' hard work and routine of endless hours tracking the whales was representative of the pride these scientists exhibited in their benign research. From their experience, they had brought us to the whales.
Nice beaks here.
With good luck, we had successfully dived with an animal that still remains an enigma, the sperm whale.
Yeah, it's 51. Grade 2. I think the game's a little bit close. John? Yeah? There's a blow within 400 metres. Okay. This way, 140. The acoustic stuff was roughly at 9. Did you make a recording? Yeah, I heard some coders. What's the number? Yeah, it's no good. The one's not okay. So the sounds were roughly at 90. And not very direct, like grade 4. How many? Grade 4? About 4 or 5 whales. 50 metres apart are they going?
Aye?
50 metres apart.
100.
Right. Oh, one of them's a carp. You want a carp? I think so. It's coming up very irregularly. Still not.
Inclusive right fin. Yeah. That's the same one. 13 was a Blanca Broma. 14 was the right fin of that whale. There's a whale on the beam.
Which beam, Gay? We have
Oh, there's even a closer one. Look at that. I don't see any whales on our beam.
Gay, which beam?
Fourth.
What beam?
Yeah.
Range?
Well, one is about 800 meters and one's about 400. And so far, yeah, so far we're going towards it now. It's right there. Do you see it, John?
Oh, that's just direct.
Jonathan? Jonathan, it's right there. Jonathan! Just take a look. To the right of Sofung, one sec there.
Oh, well. Oh, where is he going?
Right there. What was that, Phil?
That was frames 11, 12, 13 of the one with the really wrinkled
Go
dorsal
around
fin.
the starboard and come round behind you. Take a flag for this separation.
Blank and so far.
Okay.
Just underneath that bar. Let's go for the flukes.
Well, I'll go round to port then.
Okay,
Right.
be quick though. Oh, superb dorsal fin. It's all wrinkled along the top ridge.
Swimming underneath. That we're on the surface cap, the other one's right underneath it. You got it. They've both got, these tooties got three distinctive fins. Nick, let's come around to starboard. Okay, frame 16 and 17 were right fin shot of the two on the surface just then. Port now. Look at that dorsal fin, that is superb.
The south, the plankton-feeding, luminescent relative of the bottom-dwelling sea squirt, and spinner dolphin and spotter dolphin gracefully darting through the surface water. Near the continental shelf, the divers were exhilarated with the first underwater footage ever taken of the rare and shy Bridie's whale. East of the Trincomalee Canyon, we were to find the blue whale, the largest animal that has ever lived on Earth. Animals were once for all of us teachers. They instructed us in ways of being and perceiving that extended our imagination. We no longer imagined what the whale looked like in his environment. We knew we had seen more than just the whale. We had become involved with nature, and our lives had been made richer.